In childhood, I remember being hugely struck by the great classic of John Bunyan, The Pilgrim's Progress, not only in English but also in Welsh. And there was one passage which particularly stood out, linked actually with the gospel of this day. The question of the small number to be saved, ? It led to the urgency in that volume with regard to the preaching of evangelist Evangelist in Welsh, going around with the sacred scripture and saving souls through the blood of Christ from the jaws of hell. We seem to have lost something of that urgency. I remember in Rome living with missionaries, and they amongst themselves were saying how way back there had been that urgency, but that things now were often reduced to a cultural presence only. Is that happening to us? Are we scared to proclaim the message of salvation and to explain that salvation means that we are being saved from something? Therefore there is something to be saved from. There is no good news unless it's in the context of a thoroughly bad bit of news. And that bad bit of news seems to have been voted out of existence. And yet, I remember talking some years ago here to a good priest who has now gone into the beyond, but we happened to bring up that question, and he simply said, with regard to hell, it's still there. Some years ago at the Abbey, as sacristan, I was dusting and cleaning up a new confessional which had been given to us, but it was an old one. And I thought to myself, how many sins has this old box heard? And what is the power in that box against the forces that wish us harm everlastingly? And I wrote this after cleaning it and preparing it for use. A new confessional, many years old. I clean what shall clean all that in a man and womankind is spread, for yesterday still travels through this grill, and no age can much alter what is here and came this way. I here recall what secrets could be heard but once upon this earth. I hear, and see the liquid sins that in a word did melt and trickle down when grace was near. I see again the beauty of a soul, the ugliness of some, the peace withheld, for that the will was not, and that the whole would still be held a while. For I beheld here set between heaven and earth full foul fair things for each that knelt, I felt where brimstone clings.